Hey y'all, I'm back. Like I said I would be. And I'm reviewing the season finale, episode 10 of P Valley. And this episode is called Mississippi Rule. One thing I want to say is that I'm a little bit upset that we only got 10 episodes because we waited like 2 years for season 2. So they only gave us like an episode for every year we done waited. Um, but the storylines this got set up for next season, they have to give us more than 10 episodes. I mean, I just think they really had to give us more than 10. Granted, the season was phenomenal, but I think we all agree that we deserve a few more episodes. Now, when I do this review, I'm gonna mainly go by like characters, cause I wanted to go scene by scene, but I'm not gonna do that because I didn't I need to start off with this one person. He ain't black, but Derek is a bitch ass nigga if I ever seen one. Oh, that scene made me so mad. But I was like, of course, Keyshawn wouldn't be able to leave so easily. And with domestic violence, it is so hard to leave. Now, I've never been in a domestic violence situation, but just things, you see things, and it's like this motherfucker, like he, y'all, I was so mad. Like even when I think about it now, I'm still mad because I'm mad at everybody involved because I feel like everybody played a part. Like the fact when Keyshawn went to her step, I knew it was some bullshit when she said she let her sister keep them kids. I was like, your stepsister? The No. Another thing, Keyshawn couldn't come back home, but them little bitches still at home. Granted, they probably like their early 20s, and that's understandable. But when she went over there to pick up her daughter, I know in my spirit the stepmama did that out of spite. She did that on purpose. It's almost like she does not want to see Keyshawn win. And I feel as if she thinks that women like Keyshawn don't deserve a leg up and don't deserve to get out of their situation, especially if a woman like her wasn't able to get out of her situation or she had to do things because when we had that episode White Knight, I think that was episode 5, the stepmama kind of alluded that yes, she has this life of luxury due to Keyshawn's daddy, but I feel as if she also feels as if she's given up a lot of herself to have those freedoms and those luxuries. And I think she sees someone like Keyshawn, she's smart, she's beautiful, and yes, she's a stripper, but that doesn't take away from her. And because she's so young, she's able to really turn her life around and put herself in place. She's smart, she's economical, remember she studied accounting a little bit from what we saw when she was in high school because she knew even when Rome tried to give her them bullshit business deals, she knew like no, that don't sound right. That ain't gonna be right. So I think Keyshawn is smarter than her. She knows Keyshawn is smarter than her and has the potential to go much further than probably her or her daughters, and that pisses her off. But I was like, when has Derek ever picked them fucking kids up? I got a feeling Derek ain't never picked them kids up from their house. And so I feel as if to see Derek, they should have known that, like, no, something ain't right. Like, it was so intentional. It was so. And then when she get home, the nerve of, I'm assuming it's DSS, it's at the house for child abuse. And I was like, okay, but he was at the hospital when Keyshawn was at the hospital with the baby, and the nurse had noticed the bruises. The doctor didn't say nothing then. So that lets me know the pull and the money and the influence that Derek's family has in Chucalissa, probably in Mississippi. And that lets me know that he's a bitch. Because it's like, so why are you staying in this situation with Keyshawn, when you know you can and you use it for your advantage, that you can go whenever you feel like go get money or go get access or go get some type of protection from your family to work in your favor, because you didn't have no money, but you got Keyshawn Louboutins in another episode that she was mad that she couldn't fit, and now you was able to get DSS involved and make it look like Keyshawn is abusing those kids. And it didn't, and it made it even worse because Keyshawn is like, damn, this is another time where I've tried to leave my situation, and it's like my back is up against the wall. There's so many obstacles put in front of her. And so she just screams out of desperation, out of aspiration, frustration, and she starts whooping Derek's ass. Derek, and then the nigga was smirking the whole time that lady was telling her, oh, you got to stay another 6 months. We're going to be coming in checking on the kids. And Derek is like cheesing the whole time, like, yes, I done bought myself more time with you. Your black ass ain't going nowhere. It reminded me of Don't Be a Menace to South Central when they was in the back of the little truck. And she was like, sometimes I get a little crazy. And she took the liquor. And then Loc Dog got scared. And she was like, oh, no, nigga, you ain't going nowhere. That's how I felt. Derek was looking at Keyshawn like, yeah, your black ass ain't going nowhere. You thought that I didn't know that you was trying to leave me? It was almost on some Ike Turner, like, if you leave me, I kill you. Or if you die, I kill you. But he's in there, like, snickering the whole damn time. And you could just see Keyshawn, like, she just feel like, damn, you done left the pink. You had to go back to the pink. You didn't want to go back to the pink. Then you got with Haley, with Autumn. Got the shit together with the birth certificates. Got the money from when you danced the night before. Got the money from Lil Murda when you danced on stage, when you was on tour with him. And it's like everything's falling into place. I just gotta go get my kids. And then that's when it all falls apart. And it's like, damn, in that moment I was like, damn, what Keyshawn gonna do? Because she get arrested, because then it makes Derek look like the victim. And I just think a lot of, I mean, I don't know the law and everything, but I just think a lot of times how that the law really does not always protect the victim. But that's another conversation for another moment. But now she is the perceived villain. And now, even though she's the victim, she's going to have to prove herself to be worthy or safe to even get her kids back. Like, Derek has pulled, like, checkmate, nigga. And it's just such a bitch thing, because it's like, you suffer with this woman and you beat her because you're not where you're at. And you feel as if you lost something by being involved with her. But when you can, you still use that same access that you never really lost and that you beating her for no fucking reason, because you didn't lose your access. You still got your mama and daddy helping you, and they obviously helped you to trap this woman. And it's like, do y'all not like Keyshawn that bad? Y'all know y'all son crazy. And y'all know he abusive. Y'all cannot make me think otherwise. They know he crazy. I'm like, y'all don't care about y'all grandkids? They probably don't care about them grandkids. I told y'all I'm going to be jumping around. So now I'm going to go to the election. I knew Andre wasn't going to win. First of all, they was calling it too early. When they was like, oh, you need to come out and celebrate your win, my king. Why the fuck is Autumn calling him my king? I'm calling him my king. It's just. Then we get into it. We see Patrice. We see them praying over her and stuff. And I was like, I got a feeling Patrice is gonna win. And not just for her antics, but I feel that Patrice has the guts to be a mayor. I think Andre is not confident. Andre, I don't want to call him a simp. I don't. But Andre is in a lot of ways, he's not able, he's really not, I think he's one of those people, like textbook wise, he knows what it's supposed to be. He knows what it takes to be a leader, but he doesn't really have a lot of leadership qualities. Because number one, he lacks confidence. Like he always needs somebody speaking into him. And some people aren't self motivators, and that's okay. But it's almost to the point where he constantly needs to be reinforced. Like, yeah, you're smart. You're going to do this. You're going to go out. You're going to win this. And it's like Autumn always has to give that to him. And it's like, my dude, come on now. And Patrice, I feel, is gutter enough to be successful in that role. Let's keep it a buck. Politicians, a lot of them are corrupt. And a lot of them have so much funding behind them that once they do win, they have to do right by the people who paid them to get into their office, even before the people who voted them in. So I feel as if Patrice is, because of who she is and what she's done and where she comes from, she understands the duality of a person, or she understands that I might have been this, but I'm not that anymore. Or I think Patricia understands that. Well, I'm trying to get it out. It almost comes back into the whole like underlining thing throughout the season that we've been hearing, especially with Wody and Maine, and even with Mercedes. Like when you take somebody's life, you have to do something good to kind of cancel that out. And I feel as if Patrice understands that I might have been fucked up in my past. This is how I'm gonna fix it. And so I just think that Patrice is understanding that I may have to do some things I'm not proud of. I'm gonna get the job done, but that in a way, just like she said, she holds so they could fly. Patrice said she holds so these people could fly. That's that's Patrice. Um, Andre and his wife. What's his wife's name? Is it Jasmine? I don't know why I think his wife's name Jasmine. Is it Jasmine? Girl, I was like, you got a lot of nerve to be mad that you caught Haley and Andre about to get it in, but your husband caught you with another man dick in your mouth. Lady, lady, why? You know better. You know better. But at the same time, I feel as if that conversation that him and his wife was having about like why they were together, why, I mean, when he told her he was in love with Haley, I was like, oh, word, wow, oh, you really done with, oh girl. Mm. But when she said, well, I'm still in love with you, and he was like, are you in love with the person that I presented to you or the person who I really am? And she couldn't answer it. And I understood, I could understand both their perspectives. That how dare you be mad at me? I caught you cheating, and I caught you with another man that I always felt as if your family wanted you to be with, and who I always felt that you truly wanted to be with. Um, but then I also kind of understand how she would be upset with Andre because yes, Andre did not sleep with Haley, but he was very much emotionally involved with Haley, so much so that he was taken from his marriage to give to Haley in an emotional and mental state, and his wife felt him leaving her in that way because some people say that cheating starts before the physical act. And I guess especially in this sense, like you are emotionally investing yourself in this person enough to say that you are in love with them, and you only had sex with them what, one, two times. So you've already, we know that it's not like a physical thing. It's an emotional, psychological relationship that you were fostering, even though you were supposed to be in a relationship with your wife. So both of them did not show up for the other. Both of them was, both of them don't need to be together. And from their scene, when they were talking and just looking at them, it really drove home why, like, a lot of people get married for status. A lot of people get married for ego, for the image. He married her for legacy, and I think she probably married him to feel like she was creating her own image by stepping outside of what her parents wanted for her. So they both kind of married each other for ego. It wasn't really a lot of love in it. And because Andre is ashamed of where he comes from. We found out his daddy had killed somebody. So I feel as if he's always been trying to prove himself worthy. And he found this black woman who came from a well-to-do family, and if he marries her and does well, it kind of feeds into that whole black love, black excellence image that, that's really pushed on people. Everybody wants to be the power couple, and everybody wants to be like, oh, I was the first in my family to do this. I created generational wealth. I created this legacy. I created something to pass down to my children and my grandchildren. And I think that's really what him and, is her name Jasmine? Is the wife's name Jasmine? I'm going to just say Jasmine. I feel like that's what him and Jasmine were there to do. But it wasn't anything really sustainable, really keeping them together. Like, they weren't compatible. On paper, they probably were pretty decent together. Probably not better than her and the other guy. But I feel as if they would have been a better story than her and the other guy, because, of course, two doctors get together, but to really see somebody, make it out the mud, and they clean up their family name, clean up their family history, their legacy, bring it up, and they have this other woman, they have this woman who's already bringing it. Like, it's like a conglomeration of resources for, like I said, the power couple. And the fact that she was out there while he was doing his speech, and he was saying, he appreciated the support. He's going to stay in Chucalissa and be a lawyer in Chucalissa. And even though he played Barack Obama, and I'm not saying that this is Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's relationship, but it really played into that whole saying that a lot of successful black men, it's best for them to be with a black woman in the public eye, in the public image, because it gives validity to them. It really garners the support of their people, and it really garners the support of women, because a lot of times women want to see, especially black women, because we're always told that your counterparts don't want you, in layman's terms. So to see this non-ambiguous black woman, she's beautiful, she is educated, well-to-do, she was able to get this beautiful, educated, well-to-do man, and they're creating this like dynamite explosion of success. I mean, even when you think, like I said, the Barack Obamas and Michelle Obama, Jay-Z and Beyonce, I mean, y'all used to like Will and Jada. Y'all used to fuck with Will and Jada. But, you know what I mean? Like, that black power couple image. Because even when she was like, oh, you then got this light bright... Who you calling light bright? And she said, I would snatch your lace front. And he was like, what? I think her name Jasmine. He was like, Jasmine, stop. I was like, so if they started fighting, whose side did you have, Andre? Was you gonna let Haley whoop her ass? Was you gonna hold her down? I don't know. Um, being that we still on Andre, we get to the part where all the women come down there to give their best dishes to wish him the best. I mean, just pretty much soliciting pussy. Just pretty much soliciting pussy. Like, just know that I'm here for you. I appreciate all that you're doing for the city. And whenever you need me, and when you eating this casserole, think of me. I mean, that's what it was giving. And then Haley gonna come down there with her cigars. Baby girl should have listened to Georgie or Georgia. I feel like Haley, in this moment, Haley was too smart for her own good, but at the same time, she didn't know what was gonna go on. So, needless to say, when Patrice wins she won the election, so did the casino referendum, which she was against. It surprisingly went through, and we find out it went through later on. But it goes through. I think they said 24-7 or something like that. And so she was saying, now she the mayor of Sodom and Gomorrah. And she gonna make it work and call her mayor Bishop because she's still a pastor and gonna be the mayor. I was like, Lord Jesus. They already told y'all don't mix church and state. They already say don't mix church and state. And here you are, a pastor that's the mayor. Mm. That sounds like a recipe for nothing but corruption and just blind fellowship. I would say that blind fellowship. All confident and everything because I don't think she realized at that point that the casino referendum went through. So she calling Georgie and she was like, what she say? Bitch, where my check at? Like, bitch better have my money. She was on her Rihanna. Bitch better have my money. And she was really feeling herself over the phone. She was like, last time I asked for 10 mil, and pretty much with these election results, I might as well ask for my 15 mil. And that's when Georgia was like, boo boo, you ain't getting nothing. Because I still got, when she was like, I don't even need the pink no more. Because the casino referendum went through. And so she like, how you gonna have a casino? It has to be on a waterfront property. So she said, that's the thing about water, baby. It'll always run back to wherever it once did, And I understood what she said that, because even when they say, water in a sense that, I guess from a geological standpoint, water does really craft out pathways. So once it crafts out one, it's just going to continue going through there. But also, I think she kind of meant water with, when they say blood is thicker than water. Almost kind of like, well, when you got these snakes around you, or when you got people around you who you can't trust, and you can only buy their loyalty with $1, just know that whatever dollar you put up, I can put a bigger dollar, and they will still do what I want them to do. They don't have no loyalty to nothing. Water flows. It goes like it goes where it wants to go. And people go where the money at. And we didn't even need to buy the paint no more. So Haley finds out that she is ass out to not get no money. Just like she said, she gonna either be a rich bitch or a dumb bitch. And I don't really feel like Haley was dumb in that. I feel like, that's always, I think she took a very bold move And a lot of times, if it did work out for her, it would have been an amazing move for her to do. She really stuck to her guns and did not fold. And but in this case, it didn't work out for her. Um, and we find out, which made sense from, I think it was last episode, episode 8. I'm gonna get y'all the reviews, okay? I just wanted to be on time for the season finale, okay? But when we see Uncle Clifford go over there to Corbin, and he's working with the well or the hose, pretty much the irrigation system, and we was kind of wondering like, what is he doing? And then through the last episode with him getting whipped and him paying Uncle Clifford $250,000, we like, what was that for? And we see that in this episode, Uncle Clifford went behind Haley's back and made a deal with Corbin to pretty much give him the money back that it took to buy the paint, and he used that to buy out Autumn. Because by them creating a waterfront on Corbin's property, they don't need the paint no more. And then with, I think she said something with a 30% law, because I think, what's her name? Autumn was kind of like, oh well, I still have majority ownership of the paint, and he was like, and Uncle Cliff was like, no, with 30% ownership, I can't remember everything, but he was like, no, Mississippi Rule, which is the name of this episode, Mississippi Rule. The 30% ownership, I think, allowed her to buy, pretty much get that land from under her. And it took me back to when Uncle Clifford went out, when Uncle Clifford left the paint, when Mississippi came back and him and Autumn was back there arguing. And he was like, I'd take the jukebox too, but I can't fit that in my Birkin. And then he go out to his car, or go out to her car, and she's crying. And then her mama is in the back seat, like, who ass I gotta beat now? And whatever rule Uncle Clifford's mama said, I forgot what it was, but pretty much it was like, get even. And I was like, how is Uncle Clifford gonna get even? This is her getting even with Autumn. Because yes, I think Autumn wanted to get that money, but I don't think Autumn was doing it for everybody at the paint. Autumn doesn't operate like that. Autumn is a dog eat dog type of world. You gotta look out for yourself. Self-preservation is key, and I don't knock her for that. But I'm just kind of tired of her trying to act like she was trying to hold out for everybody involved. No, you was holding out for you, and then if you could help, I guess, a few people, then you would do that. But no. So we find out that, Uncle Clifford made that deal with Corbin, and he was able to pretty much bring the water to his land. And we saw, like, when we panned out, there's like this big river, and I was like, was it a river back there before, and it kind of dried up? Because I was like, is this giving a little bit of Lake Lanier? How y'all all of a sudden just make this man-made lake? But Corbin named it after Wayne, and I was like, I'm not trying to offend anybody with this, but Corbin is the epitome of, like, what is it called? The tragic mulatto. He's so desperate for acceptance, and he wants to be so close to whiteness because he is biracial, but he knows, especially in Mississippi, having that access, being white and being a white man and having the money that his daddy left him will really give him a life of acceptance, a life of power, a life of luxury. And it's almost like he wasn't even black, he was mixed. So he wasn't no side, they say, especially in that time. I'm not saying in that time, but in that mindset, because they are in like rural Mississippi. Everybody kind of like touched Corbin with like a 10-foot pole, like, and he feels that, and he's upset about that, and that's understandable. To go through your life and to not have anybody really fuck with you, people don't like you, and it's for something that's completely out of your control. But I was like, Corbin, I understand why you did it, because you want to be in your brother's good graces, and also if the casino didn't go through, they were gonna make him believe it was all gonna fall on him. But I was like, I don't, and the fact that he named it after his brother, it just kind of made me feel like, Corbin, I don't know if this really gonna get you what you thought it was gonna get you. Like, I think if anything, it just proved to them like, okay, Corbin is willing to do anything. And so they know how desperate Corbin is for their affection and for their love and acceptance, that, it's almost like, okay, he proved his worth. We'll keep him around when we need him. But, he's still our little half-breed little brother. I mean, I think that's how they feel about him. And I think Corbin saw this as an opportunity to really endear himself to his brothers. And it's like, no, Corbin, they still don't fuck with you. They don't. And I'm sorry. And you still a little bully because they don't fuck with you. Um, Hold up. I'm trying to figure out, was this before? I think it was before. Lil Murda and Clifford, they have their moment where they're in the bed, and Lil Murda's like, well, I'm about to go on tour. Like, I think he said it was either today or tomorrow where he's gonna go on tour with, Tina Snow, Megan Thee Stallion. And Uncle Clifford's like, you can tell like his shit was like, nigga, this song, like what? No. And so pretty much Uncle Clifford is telling Murda that he wants to end the relationship because he don't want to hold Lil Murda back. And I think Uncle Clifford is used to, I think she's learned that I can't fall into that fantasy of a happily ever after because of who I am, where I'm from, and where I'm at. And I don't think Uncle Clifford it feels bad because of who she is, but who she is has made her um, ostracized in a way. Because for anybody that's romantically involved with Uncle Clifford, it ain't no like I didn't know. No, you know what Uncle Clifford is, what she represents, and how people may respond to that. And I think people respect Uncle Clifford, but they still have their reservations about homosexuality, and because we are in Mississippi, and I think Uncle Clifford doesn't want Little Murda to feel as if he has to give up his career in order to be in this relationship with her. And being that Little Murda is so young, and I think everybody sees that Little Murda is a star, or he has capability to be a star. They don't want him to get stuck there in Chucalissa, and especially Uncle Clifford. She wants him to move on, and so she pretty much kind of hurts his feelings. And I think that she did that in a way like, well, you just got to sever the tie. You got to cut it off, take the head off. And I'm skipping over some stuff, but we see that Beulah, his mama, comes to him. Her mama comes to her later on in the show. And this is after we find out that Grandmother Ernestine did not pass. Thank you, Jesus. But we found out Grandmother Ernestine didn't pass. And I'm going to have to go back because I told y'all I'm skipping all over the place. But with Clifford seeing her mama, she almost kind of like gets mad at her mama, like, no, no, you tried this shit earlier, you not taking her, go on. And her mom was like, I didn't come for her, I came for you. And she was like, the way that you did that, boy, you know, you pretty much deserve to be loved. I mean, you deserve to be loved, and you should be loved. This is your opportunity. Don't push it away. And Uncle Clifford said, well, you see what love did to you. Love gave you sores. Love gave you, put you in that hospital. I want us to get more backstory on Uncle Clifford's mama, because I don't want to say that she passed from, you know, the madness. That's what they call it. But it makes me wonder what exactly happened with Uncle Clifford's mama. Because Uncle Clifford's mama, the way she dresses, gives me that she was in that street life and in the '90s. Cause them windbreaker jackets and stuff, and she always got a cigarette, or just her vibe gives me that, you know, she was connected to everybody, and she probably dibbled and dabbled. And if I remember when Uncle Clifford went to her tombstone, I could have sworn it said 1964 to 1999. So she died very young. She was in her what, mid 30s. So that means she had Uncle Clifford young, probably was a teenage mother. And so it makes me think, was her mama in the performance life and it got the best of it? Did she start abusing drugs? And did she get sick from it? Like, and maybe is that why Uncle Clifford was so against the whole we not pushing no dope through the paint? It's a lot to be left with that. But pretty much Uncle Clifford's mama says to him, don't push murder away. You know, he really loves you and he really wants to be with you. And to further go along with the storyline of Clifford and murder, Ernestine has a party because, you know, she done survived Rona. She about to celebrate. And that's when Big L, Diamond, and the Ugandan man come over to the house. And, you know, Clifford, he already like, you just left the hospital, you still coughing. No. But she was like, no, while you was over there making phone calls, I was over there making phone calls to people like, I ain't gonna die. I'm about to have a party and we gonna celebrate. So they have the party at the Pink, and Lil Murder shows up because, first of all, he loves Ernestine. Him and Ernestine have a good relationship. But also, he's not going on the tour. And I feel for Lil Murder, he doesn't want to lose Uncle Clifford because he already lost Teak. And we finally see in this moment when they're at the bar and they're having a moment, and they're going back and forth, and Uncle Clifford's like, why did you come back? Why did you not go on tour? And he was pretty much like, when I go back on tour, or when I pretty much do it, I'm going to do it on my own time. I'm going to be my own man. And she was like, so you just going to be here, Chuckalisa, selling out concerts or whatever? Like, you just going to relegate yourself to this small, like, to be a big fish in a small pond? And she was like, I think you're scared of making it. And fear of success is a real thing, because I feel as if when you become successful, sometimes it makes you feel bad for all the people who came before you who wasn't successful, or the people who have attached themselves to you and maybe they have worked just as hard and haven't gotten the success, and then you feel like, why me? Just like he said to Wody, why me? The last episode of Wody was like, well, why not you? If it could be anybody, it should be you. And pretty much we learned how Lil Murder and Big Teek's relationship came to be. I forgot what he said, but he said something about my nigga. He said a nigga, my nigga. And he was saying it in reference to Big Teak. And he was saying the first time he said he could, he felt his energy from a few cells down. And he got the CO to, pretty much get Big Teak to, you know, recognize him. He said he was in a janitor's closet, and pushed Big Teak in there. So we see that their relationship must have started in jail, or in prison. And he said that was the first time. And the second, third, fourth, fifth time. And they really cultivated a relationship. It was, he mentioned Big Teak because he said, may the sun guide you. May the sun guide you through your darkest time. Pretty much let God or let the sun guide you through your darkest time, which I think was a older lyric of Lil Murda's that Big T got tatted on his chest. And he's pretty much letting him know, like, he witnessed Big T take his life because he fought all these internal battles and these demons, and because he couldn't be who he was. And he saw how that destroyed Teak. Teak had been through so much. Almost murdered by his mom as a child, going to prison, being in love with another man and not being able to live his truth. It ate him out. It ate him inside out. His mind, his spirit. He was tired, he was drained, and because he could never heal and he couldn't live as his true self, it fucked with him. And it was the reason why he took his life. And he was like, I don't want that for myself, because I see what that can do to somebody. And so that's why I pretty much want this relationship with you, because I love you and I have this bond with you. And I don't want to hide, because it's only going to kill me. It's only going to be my downfall, And Uncle Clifford, is, touched by this revelation. And I forgot how we get back outside, but Uncle Clifford is sitting with Nineveh, I think that's her name, and somebody else, and they got the juke joint playing because they at the party. They put on Pretty Brown Eyes by Mint Condition, and Uncle Clifford's like, oh shit, this my song. Who put this on? And they like, oh, your son did. And they look across and they see Lil Murda. And Lil Murda, has, pretty much, he goes over there to talk to Lil Murda, and they have their banter. And Lil Murda ends up dancing with Ernestine, and I forgot what song they were dancing to. What song was it? I had never felt. It goes like, oh, it's much more than days. Loving you. It's that song. And they're all dancing to it. Lil Murda comes up from behind Uncle Clifford and pretty much wraps his arm, like embraces him in front of everyone. And they turn around and they face each other, and we see like the headshots of Uncle Murda, Uncle Clifford, Lil Murda. And they eventually dance and they embrace and they kissing. They are kissing in public. And they turn around. Everyone that is there is just like smiling in support of it. So, but I wonder what's going to be with Uncle Clifford and Lil Murda's storyline for next season, because I think this might be the calm before the storm. And I say that because how is this going to transition over to Lil Murda's rap career? And I forgot them other niggas' name who wear the yellow and the blue. They still coming for Lil Murda because they know he didn't pop Pico. Rewind. Okay, rewind, because I told y'all I was skipping. Hold on, where I'm gonna go back to? Rewind. Where am I rewind to? Because I didn't skip so much. Let's go back to let's go back to we're gonna go back to shit. Let me just look right here, because well, let's go back to Mercedes and Terica and Patrice, because Mercedes and Terica was at the party, and they brought what, some pig feet to the party. Everybody had brought their own little dish to the party, but we see Mercedes dancing in dancing at her gym, because well, we see her at home before all of that, and she sees Patrice on the screen. That's when she know Patrice love putting on a show, and she like, you the vice, you the one, like she like having her own little dialogue, because she know her mom full of shit. So she gets this knock on the door, and it's this FedEx package where it's this big picture of Mercedes that Farrah took, and a check. I could have sworn it had like $80,000 or something like that. And so Mercedes calls Farrah and to thank her for everything, and she's like, "Why would you send me this money?" She's like, "Is this what my sponsorship, like the rest to pay it out?" And she was like, "No, it's royalties." And she was like, "Sponsorships expire, but royalties live on forever." And I like that, even though we didn't see a relationship with Farrah and Mercedes, we really saw how I think Farrah really wanted to tie up all that had happened between her and Mercedes and Coach. And she wanted to make it right, because I think she knew that Mercedes had good intention, and also Mercedes provided a lot for her in getting her back into her career, getting her back into her confidence. And what Mercedes gave to her, she's giving back to Mercedes. So they both helped themselves pull themselves out of their situation to become their own leaders in a way. So now she has these pictures of Mercedes, and now Mercedes is royalties. And she was like, "And this is how art works?" And she was like, "Yeah." "Well, kind of." Well, she said no, or something pretty much like, I think she was like, most people don't get paid their due, but because I respect you, and I have she's fond of her. Like, she kind of looks up to Mercedes in a way. She wanted to give that back to Mercedes. And so we see Mercedes in her new gym, and she has her pictures on the wall, and I like the little part that she had above one of them and says, "This is art," or "It is art," or something like that. So she's doing a routine on the pole by herself. Patrice Addison came in, and she's like, "What you doing here?" And she was like, "Oh, I thought this was gonna be a gym for girls." And she pretty much says how Shell reached out to, I think, the prayer line or something. You know, she need help, and so she wanted her to take over raising Terica to help her out. And Patrice was like, "I already raised my child." And I was like, "Patrice, you did a horrible job." But yeah, if that's what you want to say. But she pretty much is telling Mercedes that I want Terica to live with you, live with her mama. And I think this is her way of trying to right her wrongs. You know, I wasn't a good mother to you, and then I took your child from you. You need your baby, and your baby needs you. And I want to be the person to help you in fixing that relationship. So we see Terica come in, and she hugs Mercedes. And it was such a sweet moment because I was like, Terica finally gets to be with her mama. Her, Mercedes finally gets her baby back. And I also like, I think Katori is from Memphis, and I always notice little things that she like little things that she does, kind of like shout out Memphis. Mercedes had on a shirt that said "Black men deserve to grow old," and it had Young Dolph on it, him being from Memphis, and he was recently murdered. And that was kind of like a foundation that I think his fiance at the time was pretty much promoting, because crime is very high in Memphis. And I think it was a shout out to Young Dolph. It was a shout out to Memphis, and I really like that because I think Mercedes, or the Brandy, who plays Mercedes, is from Memphis as well. I think a lot of the cast. I think Wody, the guy who plays him, is from Memphis as well, and I do think Couture is from Memphis. I know the guy who plays Lil Murda, Jay Alphonse, and Patrice, what's her name? Harriet D. Foy or something like that. They're both from North Carolina. So a lot of the cast is from the South. But it was beautiful to see that. And so just to tie that back to, that's why Terica and Mercedes were at the party. Now I'm gonna go back again. I told y'all I'm all over the place. Mercedes really gets to have her last dance. And it was after the whole melee of the fight in the club. And Lil Murda comes back out on the stage, and he does that 7 pounds of pressure. And DJ Devaskate, he like cut the beat. And he just kind of like feeling the vibe. And somebody in the audience was like, when is this nigga gonna start singing? Like, he'll start singing. So he starts rapping like a cappella. And he's rapping the words 7 pounds of pressure. And 7 pounds of pressure to pull a trigger. And Mercedes felt that 7 pounds of pressure in her arm, and that's what messed with her mental, because when they killed Montavious. But also, for Lil Murda, the 7 pounds of pressure that Teak had to pull the trigger for to end his life. And also, them 7 pounds of pressure that he did to do Pico. Like, that was his new song to premiere. And to have Mercedes dance for him ever since first season, when she was like, oh, this was some slaw from his old songs. And I guess it really shows how his respect for her, his adoration for her, and how this moment came together and the crowd loved it. And you could tell it was a really thought-provoking piece. And when he was speaking directly to Maine, and he was like, niggas out here saying they claim bodies, somebody got him. He let him know without letting him know. Yo nigga was a bitch nigga. He around here claiming shit. And that's just the rules of the game. He got. He got. That's just the rules of the game. He got. And you can get got. Any one of us can get got. That's the risk we take, in being a part of this. So just because he got don't mean that he's above getting got. You know what I mean? Like, no. Yeah, you mad your dude died, but first of all, Pico was a flip-flopping ass nigga. He wasn't trustworthy no way. I'm gonna save that for my episode, what is that, 8 or 9 review? I think. Okay. Um, and so we see a scene where Uncle Clifford is talking to Mercedes, and he like, I got the club back. The club really about to take off because he was like, we're gonna do an amusement park theme, and he was like, I got my bottom bitch back, and I was like, Uncle Clifford, why do you think Mercedes still want to dance? You just told her dream new dreams, and that's what she told him. That's what she told her. And he was like, who's gonna replace you? She said nobody, but that's the point. Don't bring somebody in to replace Sadie. There's just going to be a new dancer, a new persona, a new character to come up. Speaking of a new dancer, Roulette's ass, she gonna turn the Pink into a damn hoe house. Cause she pimping these hoes. She pimping these hoes. And she gonna bring Nineveh into her staple. Nineveh wanna be a part of the staple. And I'm assuming that Nineveh is trans, I think, because she was like, it's a lot of niggas who want what I got. And she ain't never lied. It's something out here for everybody. Everybody has their own kink, has their own desire, has their own kick, what they like. And she already got Whisper. She got Toy. And now she got Nineveh. And how is that going to work at the Pink? Because that's going against one of the rules. I'm looking at the notes, y'all, to make sure I got everything. I'm going to go back to Mercedes and Terica. Terica moves in with Mercedes. And I kind of didn't care for it, but I understood why Mercedes introduced Maine to Terica. Because it's not like I thought Maine would do something with Terica, but I was like, these street niggas and they go after young girls. Please don't put your baby at risk because the same thing happened to you. But it's like, Mercedes, Maine not your dude. Yeah, y'all got a little crush or whatever, but he not your nigga. You don't have to like make him a part of your personal life without making him a part of your personal life, because he felt some type of way with Mercedes up there dancing on the stage with Murder. That he saw that as like betrayal of her being with the Hurt Village and not with their crew. And I was like, I really paid attention. Mercedes' hair got blue streaks in it and her car yellow. So she always been repping their colors. Probably because it makes me think, was Terica's daddy a part of that crew? Is it just because she lives over there, or like, I don't know. And he kind of salty about it. And I'm like, Mercedes don't owe you shit. I mean, niggas be feeling entitled. Entitled. Like, yes, y'all kind of have this unspoken sexual chemistry, but you've never acted on it. And then when she needed you in a very vulnerable moment, you couldn't really give her what she needed without trying to fuck. And so it's just like, man, Mercedes don't owe you nothing. Why you mad? You a big grown ass nigga that can't stay off house arrest. Bye. Keyshawn is down at the jail, and she called Diamond, and she said, my hair wasn't long enough. Pretty much, you know, the necklace that he gave her, Derek had pulled something out his ass, and now she in jail. And I think she realized, well, you was gonna kill that nigga last year. Do you mind doing that for real this time? Pretty much. And he was like, well, he kind of said yeah without saying yeah. But as he's leaving later on in the episode, well, towards the end of the episode, we see that he's attacked by Big Bone and her accomplice. And she says, this the guy who killed our lieutenant boss. And we already knew Big Bone was there for Montavious. It was a dead giveaway. But when he was gonna kill him, like had the gun at him, and he was like, "Nah, that'll be too easy." I wonder, was he saying it'll be too easy to kill Diamond in that moment, or it'll be too easy to just assume that he's the one who killed Montavious? Because in a way that wouldn't make sense. Diamond doesn't have a relationship. He didn't have a relationship with Montavious, so he wouldn't have a reason to have killed Montavious. And I think that's when he's saying, nah, it ain't this easy. But we gonna use him to get to the person who we really want to get to, which we know is Autumn. So I think that's when he's like, nah, that would be too easy. Like it would be too easy for to just say, oh, Diamond killed Montavious. Let's no, it's more to that than that. But we see Autumn's ass. We don't get Big L after Autumn and Clifford had that big showdown with. He was like, "Well, I'm giving you the money that you gave to buy the paint," and she was like, "You just gonna let these white people walk all over you? $250,000 is not enough." Like I can understand Autumn. She is like, "What the fuck?" Like I could have made 10 million. Now I ain't making nothing, and all I'm getting is $250,000. That's what, like maybe 2% of 10 million, 2.5%. Like I know she hurt, or if it's you're like 2.5%. That's nothing, or something like that. And we see, and she pretty much they're going back and forth, and she was like, my money brought this club, and you wouldn't even had it if it wasn't without me. And Uncle Cliff was like, yeah, and you would have been dead if it wasn't for me and Mercedes. Like one hand washed the other. And I think Uncle Clifford was like, we did that because we took you in and we cared about you and we grew to be affectionate for you, like as family. But you always on some, I gotta get you before you get me. And I think that just speaks to how Autumn has grown up and her experiences. So she has to take the check that Corbin read to Clifford that he gonna sign over to her. And Diamond and Big L, and I was like, yeah. And then we had bodies for you. Like everybody's like, I pretty much bringing it home. Like, yes, you saved the pink, but the pink saved you. You pretty much was paying back what they had already invested in you. Like one hand washed the other. And so on the night of Ernestine's party, Big L called Clifford, and he like, Clifford, you gotta see this. They go in there and see that Haley done stole money out the fucking business account, because remember she owned the club, so she had access to it. And I'm like, Uncle Clifford, do not get back in this financial hole that you just got out of. And he was like, all that Skrilla we made from the other night, Haley took it. And I can understand why people don't like Haley in this moment, because she's a fucking thief. And she's a, I guess you could kind of say Uncle Clifford stole the paint from her. But she got the paint from money she stole from Montavious. Montavious came looking for it. They had to help her. She used that money to buy out the paint, and now Clifford took the paint back, gave her the money that she put back, and gave her the money back that she put into the paint, and then she took that and then the money that was in the account. It's like, Haley, you be stealing. You be stealing, bitch. And then we see her get off this train, this bus, and it was almost giving, I was like, is this bitch in Japan? I don't know why. I just felt really like, this made me feel like this bitch is not in America. Like, that's what it was giving me. Like, this bitch is not in America at all. One thing that I do want to go back to is, really quickly, when Keyshawn met up with Lil Murda. When they hugged, for some reason, I thought Lil Murda had saw like something in the distance, and I was like, "Don't tell me wasn't about to pull up on him and kill him and accidentally kill Keyshawn." But that didn't happen. Keyshawn is right back at square one, unfortunately, needing to be saved. And did she act too late? It's just, whew, it's hard. But I do like. This has been a phenomenal season. Phenomenal season. I love this season. I love this episode. It tied up a lot of things, but it also left things open to build on, and it wasn't done in like a cheesy way. Um, I just really, what is the expectation for Lil Murda and Uncle Clifford's relationship? Because I feel as if he goes public, we want that, but I feel as if that's gonna put Uncle Clifford in the crossfire because them mother niggas is not gonna let Lil Murda go. They still want to get him back for Pico. And Ernestine, I feel like in a way Ernestine doesn't realize the job she's taking on, but a part of me feels like she's very much aware of the job that she's taking on. And she's willing to get down with the best of them. So I think that Cal them think that she's just a simple old ignorant black woman who lucked up, but it's like no. Patrice done rolled probably with the best of them. The big she is gutter, so she knows how to think gutter, and she knows how to. She every roadblock that they've thrown at her, she's known how to use it. Like she knew how to throw it back at them, and that only comes from experience. Okay, that only comes from experience. But I feel like I might have left some things out. Tell me if y'all like this review or anything else y'all want to talk about in the comments. But thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Bye bye.